Welcome back to Caffeine Confessionals. My name is Allan and Luke. We are here to talk about the Challenge All-Stars 5 Rivals finale. I'm joined by my lovely Southern co-host, Luke Muncie.
What's up, guys?
Unfortunately, our Vermontian co-host, Zoe Trimboli, is on vacation. Actually, that's not unfortunate at all. She's on vacation. Yeah. Good for her. She deserves it.
For sure. We miss her, though.
We did not podcast about last week's episode. We gave you like a warning in advance after episode 10 that we might not. And here's the reason why. Finales are just not the most fun things to recap because we're just summarizing people running and doing checkpoints, and you can just kind of watch that yourself.
Yeah, I don't think commentary adds to it. I think it's just if you want a summary, go read an article maybe, because I'm sure there are tons that are like this checkpoint, this checkpoint, this checkpoint, but it's not like it's jam-packed with drama. I know we're going to talk about like small tidbits, but not enough to fill up an episode week by week.
Yeah, and it's just whatever we're doing is just going to be a watered down version of whatever was on the show. There's only so much we can do to describe what our actions that you can just watch with your own eyes. I mean, Luke, did you know that I'm a big fan of The Amazing Race?
I feel like you've said this before. So
okay, I've watched at least 20. I don't watch every season, but I've watched at least 20 seasons of The Amazing Race in my life. I put it on, I binged through like 10 episodes, and I have a great time watching it. And then you know what? I don't tell anyone about it. I don't talk about it with anyone. You know why? Because they're just running around, and I don't have any actual like opinions that I want to debate with people upon, like we do in these challenge episodes. Where like, oh, look at this political play that someone made. Look at this move. The Amazing Race is a great TV show, but I don't feel like I need to talk about it. That's the same way I feel about challenge finals most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I've tried to watch The Amazing Race a few times to no avail. And maybe that's why while watching these finales, I was skipping ahead a couple seconds, minutes to get past some of the stuff because, yeah.
With these finals, like the moments that you remember are either when someone completely falls apart and like dies Big Easy or Polly style, or it's when someone, pulls a move like Ashley or Banana stealing the money from their partners. But even then, that's not the actual race. That's the drama elements. Like no parts of the actual race are really that exciting. And in this final that we watched this week, I really enjoyed these past two episodes. But there really wasn't like a ton of drama. There was like some here and there, but like it wasn't like any big blow ups.
Right.
So we should just jump into who's winning, right?
Or I feel like, well, we've been jumping into it all season.
Spoiler warning if you don't know who won yet and don't want to hear it, but we're just going to talk about it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Congratulations to Adam and Steve for winning Challenge All-Stars 5. They won 5 eliminations. They won multiple daily challenges. They won the opening challenge of the season, and they won it all in the end. Felt pretty expected.
It did, but it came down to the wire, and that like made my heart hurt.
Yeah. So they won by 1 point, I believe, right, or however it shaked out.
They had the same amount of points, but they won based on like a split second that we didn't get much information on, but nonetheless, they won.
They were also given the option to split or steal the money, and they chose to split the money, which I'm actually a little bit shocked by because they're only splitting $250,000, so you're only getting $125,000, and that's tax, so you're probably making like $80,000 for the whole season.
Yeah. I feel like if you're Adam, you couldn't steal just because of how much you've complained about Steve. But then again, that might have given him leverage to do it. And then I think Steve just doesn't care. I think Steve is just like, going back home, I'm going to keep working whatever job he's working. That's not just a hand model. There's no way. There's no way. But
Steve's not a hand model anymore. He just, especially with all the working out he's doing and all these daily challenges, his hands got to just be cut up from everything.
Right. Congrats to them. They had a great season, so I can't take that away. And that's why I can kind of be okay with this. But again, the only male team in the final one.
It's really weird to say because to compare this to like sports, like the NCAA tournament, you have like the championship game. Adam and Steve were 20-point favorites in this final, and they won on a buzzer beater by 1 point. They still won. That shouldn't be taken away from them. But we did expect them just to completely blow everyone out of the water. So their performance in a way was underwhelming, but they still won. So I feel weird kind of hating on it.
Yeah, like when I found out the spoilers when they came out, I was like, I get it. I'm not mad about it, because I think if anything, if you're a fan of All Stars, like you're happy that these two won. You're very happy that Melissa and Nicole didn't, and then the others you could have some debate about. But I get it, but it just doesn't do anything for me as a fan. But with that said, I speak for myself. I know there are tons of people who are going to be elated, and for them, I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Avery.
Yeah, let's talk about Adam and like what, because I think between Adam and Steve, Adam was the clear standout of this season. He announced that with this money, he was going to use it to buy a ring for Avery. So I'm expecting us to see an Instagram post after the episode, or maybe on Thursday, of them being actually engaged now.
I was thinking the same thing. He also said that he was going to be a stay-at-home dad, and I'm like, well, with after-tax $80K, then buying a pretty decent ring, you can't be a stay-at-home dad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and like Avery is a pretty top shelf lady. Like she's pretty successful in her own right, and like I feel like the ring alone might even cost more than what the winnings might be for someone. I don't know. Luckily, you know what? They got a joint income now. Hooters did not. It's someone bought it, so it's not going out of business. Big win for them.
It was Adam that bought it for $80K.
Overall, though, like I really enjoyed Adam on this. I enjoyed Adam last season in like his spiraling. This season, though, I've seen some people criticize him and say that Adam is putting up a front and trying to act like a good guy.
I've seen Corey Lay say that, yeah. And I'm sure other people have, but I don't know. I think that he's appeared to be a good guy to me this season. I know we get an edited version, but
you know what's I don't think is being talked about enough is that you can both be a really good guy and also have a crazy side to you that comes out when you're competitive and when you feel like you've been wronged and when you're in a game. And I think that Adam is both simultaneously a really kind person and a good dad. And there is also a vicious side to him that can come out. I think that, people don't have to be one person. They can have multiple layers to them.
That's a good reality TV star, to be honest. So
exactly, yeah, exactly. And which leads me to my next question is: do you want to see Adam on the main show?
No,
you don't.
Too old, in a relationship, has children.
I mean, we saw him get a little bit vicious in that season with Steve, and I think you put him in a house with some of these personalities who maybe want to take shots at him, like these younger personalities. And I think there is something about him that could get the best of some of these younger competitors and also bring out a different side of him.
I could see it, but I also don't think / don't know that he'd be able to keep up with some others. I don't know. Like and I don't mean like on All Stars 5 type dailies, but like
he's a really good competitor though, and he is really strong physically, and he does like mentally take apart these challenges really well.
Yeah, and I agree. I think I'm just so over casting people near 50 at this point on the main show with people who are in their 20s, and then like the show can't move on if we've got to still have. Like, I'm all for the OGs. So, yeah, I would be okay if he had, like, one show up, like, one season from now. But I think I'm just too, like, tarnished by so many of these people that have done so many seasons and need to just end the challenge career.
Yeah, that's fair. I think there is still a little bit of a messiness element to him that could get brought out that we have seen. And I also just want to be able to have a litmus test of, like, how good of a competitor he is. Just to see him against some of these younger players because we've only seen him go against the OGs.
Yeah, and I don't want Avery back, but if he were to come to the main show, I would want her there because I don't really love when we watch seasons and people are like, well, my significant other who's from the show is back home, because yes, they're being loyal to them there, of course, because who wouldn't? You're being televised. But like it adds a different layer when your significant other is in the house being put into jeopardy and you have to play kind of 2 games at once. That's probably the only way I'd be okay with him showing up.
Yeah, it's crazy. I would not mind seeing Avery again on All Stars, but I have no interest in seeing her on the main franchise ever again.
Yeah, I'd be happy just to see her on Instagram when she posts and say, there you are. But yeah, and it seems like All Stars might be coming to a close with this season, allegedly.
I posted a Twitter post of like my cat's birthday recently, and Avery liked it, and she doesn't use Twitter very often. So I was like, oh, so she logged in, saw the cat, and was like, hit like, and that was just like she never tweets. She like
Yeah.
never uses Twitter. Like at one point there was like a 3-year gap in between posts for her, so it was nice to see that little notification, like, oh, Avery, you remembered your password, like.
Right. And she saw your cat and said, you know what? I'm happy. That's enough internet for the day.
Yeah, yeah. Steve gets the win. Look, when Steve came on All Stars 2, really great fun addition to the show. Challenged the status quo, made fun of Derek's outfit, was part of a blind side. All Stars 4, wins those eliminations, has the stuff with Adam, comes so close to winning. And then this season, gets the win. Oh, it's just so boring.
Stick in the mud. And we say all the time, so I'm beating a dead horse. I get if you're there to compete. The priority is the money. It just sucks for us viewers who want a dynamic winner, who like we can think, oh, Steve's winning season, he had this messy moment. He did this. He did nothing. He did nothing.
Well, he did not do nothing because they did win the most, but he did nothing at the same time.
I mean, in terms of entertainment, he did nothing. Like there's nothing where
he was a net negative. He literally would not even participate in the house parties at times.
Right.
Good for him, though. I mean, in terms, he did something I forgot to acknowledge when we were podcasting live, but Steve technically tied Wes's record for most elimination wins in a row ever at 8 for a male competitor. And if he ever wins one more, he ties Laurel's record. After Horacio lost elimination, I never thought anyone would ever touch that record. So good for him.
Yeah.
But as a whole, though, like we're saying, like, no more entertainment. I don't really want to see him on any variation of the show ever again.
No, not even All Stars. And he probably would think the same. Like he's got his moment, he got his title. He's going to fade off into the abyss, hopefully.
I don't know, because like was the first place male and on 2 seasons in a row now, I guess. So maybe this is the best way for him to make money. And if they're going to call him, he's going to say yes. I would assume. They just shouldn't call him.
Right.
Next up, second place, Shane and Davon, who completely blew expectations out of the water in this final. And yet, I think we're going to watch back this final and think about every single moment where one little different choice could have resulted in them winning.
So upset. And I like the very small amount of drama we got during this final was actually last week when Shane said he wanted to be friends with Davon. She did not. There was a blow up. Again, it took 2 minutes to get through. But I was rooting for this team. And I'm not claiming that they rigged the end. I'm not. Like, I think Steve and Adam won fair and square. There have been many times I've claimed riggery. But it came down to nothing. Like, the horn was called at the same time for both of them. And I have to think if there's ever a time to rig on one side or how you're going to break the tie. Let me not even say rig. If there's ever going to be a time to make a decision to break the tie, on one hand, Adam and Steve are OGs. Both of them, we get it. But on the flip side, Shane is also an OG. Okay? Like, a gay man winning would be phenomenal. Okay? Davon is the challenges like I don't know what the term I'm looking for is, but like beloved. Like she does the podcast. They pretty much tried to swindle her while she's on location for 40 to come and do the season. Like, if you know this is her swan song, this is her last season, what do you think the audience is going to grasp onto in a more positive way? Is it Adam and Steve, or is it Shane and Davon? I know the answer. You know the answer. But they also might think, well, Davon's big brother. People on Facebook will be upset. I don't know.
I was about to say that Devon is like the challenge's beloved stepmom, because she is like a big brother person, but she does do the challenge podcast, and so her feet are in both waters. I think that the final confessionals after that last checkpoint were very telling, in who actually won, because Steve and Adam were like, we are 99% sure that we won, and Shane and Devon were kind of like, well, we might have won, you know.
Yeah, but I also have to consider they filmed that after knowing who won. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even then, I think that we would have gotten a confessional that was more confident, because I feel like we do see at least come up with it's like no, we did win type stuff, or like we have a good shot. I believe we won, but even with Shane and Yvonne, there was such a lack of certainty in theirs.
I'll be honest, I hate it, and that's the only reason I hate Adam and Steve winning. If any of the other teams in the final had gotten second place, I'd be like, yeah. There are very few times when a challenge season concludes that I feel like, wow, I love the winner. That was so good. And if Shane and Davon had won, I would be walking away from here like, wow, I love this.
So when Nelson lost the CT on Invasion, I broke down all these little moments that could have been the difference of the 2 minutes, where he lost, and in the same final where it came down to a point. I think of last week, and there was the portion with the balls, and they're stacking the cups. Shane failed in trying to sabotage Frank. If he had waited, because I think we weren't here to break down this part of the final. Frank was the smartest sabotager in this whole thing, because he waited for a team to be in the middle stacking their cups when he threw a ball at them. When Shane threw it, Frank was there to protect his balls, and they just failed in the sabotage. If they had properly sabotaged, then maybe one placement goes differently. They win the final right there.
Right.
During the eating portion at the beginning of this episode, they sabotaged Melissa and Nicole, saying that they thought they were in second place. If you sabotaged Frank and Sam, maybe that would have been a one placement difference between your two teams, and that's the difference in the final.
Yeah, for sure. And I can't be too mad, because you're right. I think those things could have made the difference. And I could say all day long, like, oh, well, because so-and-so was bitter. That's a part of the challenge that I love, and a lot of people love, that there's bitterness and there's nastiness. So I take it as it is. But if I could redo one thing, it'd be switching first and second.
Now, Devon said that this is her last season. Do you think it is?
I do, because I know that she would not come back for a main season, just because of the length of time. And as she said, her daughter is like grown. Like, it's not like she's a toddler who's going to be like, oh, mommy's back. And I just don't think, I don't think All Stars will be back anytime soon. And I don't think it fits in with her life. And, I'm happy she still does the Challenge podcast. I don't listen to it, but like I'll hear clips on Twitter and I'm like, okay, yeah, I like her commentary on that. But yeah, I think this is it for her for the challenge.
And based on the way other people have talked about the way she was acting in the house, like not in a bad way, but like she's just kind of over it. Mm-hmm. It does make sense that like this would be her last season, and to go out. I mean, this is like the definition of going out on a high note.
I agree.
And she was just so happy with coming in second place, especially because, I mean, she probably never thought she'd ever do so well in a final.
Right. Yeah, I think leaving on a high note is something that a lot of people we watch just can't grasp, and it's a shame.
Well, we just had, if Wes had retired after All Stars 3, his challenge career would look so perfect. Like, that was such an amazing way to go out in such a dominant win. Instead, he loses on World Championships and then follows it up with a USA season where he's crying and has like, oh, this is my last season. Oh no, I'm not actually retired. Then after the fact, I'm retired, then not retired. And he loses to a rookie, and it came out looking real weak.
Yeah, and I've said this so many times on here, so sorry if you listen often, because I'm saying it again. When people went out for Survivor 40, Winners at War, they were asked, like, are you worried about their legacy? And a lot of them said, I don't care about my legacy. This is a way for me to make money. This is a cool experience. From that point of view, I get it. If Wes is going to make $60,000 just to show up, hey, I get it. But I don't know. I feel like Wes is somebody who cares about his legacy.
Yeah, especially when you're like in tears and you're asking for everyone to respect you, like, oh, this is my last time. And then months later you're like, no, it's not actually my last season. Oh, I'm not doing 40, but I'll be back for like this season in a few years or what. I don't know.
Right.
If Davon actually, I could see Davon coming back again, like if the money's right and if it's like the right time in her life. But I also wouldn't be shocked if she never comes back again.
Yeah.
Shane, I think, would definitely want to come back again, and he was an alternate for season 41.
I know. He's still going to be in the mix, I'm sure, but I don't think he's ever going to be top priority for them, which I hate. I think he brings a level of messiness, but I think just the way his edit played out on this season, he's not somebody who they're trying to showcase as a star.
I also think with the way that cast kind of like came together, I think he kind of dodged a bullet quietly because I just don't think it would have been the perfect mix for him.
No, especially are you talking about 41?
Yeah.
Yeah. Spoiler, but it's not because it didn't happen. But like Amanda had to drop too. Like, I just think that he would have been an easy target due to some of the circumstances of that season.
It was just, I mean, season 41 just has a weird cast as a whole, I would say. I don't think it's gonna be a bad season, but it's just not. It's just a weird cast. How do we feel about this season for Shane though?
I think it was a great return. I think for him to make his first final really is great. And I think that's why him and Davon could walk away still happy. Sure, they lost, but like, I'm sure they've seen the challenge stats suite that after every season updates the list of people who've made the most finals or played the most seasons without making the final. And while Davon's not on there, Shane is. I'm sure he's happy to get off that. And I think someone who's been on this show since I believe season 10 was his first season. I could be wrong, but
I think it's like 5 or 4.
Oh, well, even better than like somebody like that. You have to think they're leaving like, I've been doing this for decades, literally like this. I'm just happy to be here. While he still provides drama and, makes us have commentary. One thing I did have a problem with, and this goes for second, third, and fourth, I thought they were going to have the steal the money twist for all the teams, like they did on Rivals 3.
I'm going to steal the $5,000.
Which is ludicrous, but it's like, if you're whoever fourth place is, and it's like, do I either go home with $5,000 taxed or $2,500 taxed? I guess it's not that high stakes that you'd want to burn a relationship with somebody, but I would have still liked to have seen it.
I think 10,000 is like the maximum you could win without it being taxed, or something like that. Or there's like, I might be wrong about that. Or there's like a certain amount actually like that, and I wonder if it gets to that point in the show.
And maybe they did give that option to all of them, but they all just shared, so like it wasn't worth seeing, because I know that Gamer, the spoiler account, had said like, curious to see who steals, like hinting that multiple people get the option. So maybe they did, and they all just shared, and that was boring TV to see back to back to back to back.
Yeah. I think Shane, this performance is really good because he's never made a final before, but he's always been someone who theoretically would be really strong in a final, and he proved to be, just awesome in this final across the board when it came to eating, puzzles, strategy. Shane just like an elite competitor.
Yeah, I often think if he had made the Invasion final, I'm not saying that he would have been a standout winner, but like some of those puzzles that stumped Nelson and definitely Corey wouldn't have stumped Shane. I don't know.
Luke, he would have won by a fucking hour.
Okay,
he would have like Nelson lost to CT by 2 minutes. I feel comfortable in saying Shane is a much better puzzle competitor than Nelson. There was also a good amount of swimming in that final, and Shane is an elite swimmer. It wouldn't have been close. Shane would have dominated that final. He was also in the best shape of his life then.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, Shane would have dominated the Invasion final. I don't know if we'll ever see him on a main show season again. Obviously, he was an alternate for 41, but it's good to have him back in the universe.
For sure.
Third place, Frank and Sam. And I think a lot of people are going to be like very critical online about how was treating Frank and I think people are going to be critical of both Frank and Sam and how they're acting during that heavy cardio portion near the end of this final. What were your thoughts on that?
So I can't blame Frank for being upset with Sam for giving up a few times, because it wasn't like, I get her stamina was not where it needed to be, but like there were times where it was like, you just have one more round to go. It's the final. There's money at stake. And that's me saying that. She very well could have not been able to. So I'm not knocking her. I do think she is somebody who gets in her head about things, like she did at the beginning of the season and couldn't finish some of the dailies that she got better on. I think when she got to the final, it freaked her out because she remembered the last final and she knows she's not even in the shape she was then. The only problem I have, and feel free to disagree because I feel like people are going to, my gut reaction whenever Frank pulled Sam aside and said, I don't care about this money, after he'd been screaming about the money and confessions, crying about it, but I need you to take better care of yourself. Listen, what a great friendly gesture that is to like someone you care about. Absolutely. I don't know if the right avenue to have that discussion is while you're being filmed. And this is the bad part that I'm just saying, I'm not sure if this is true. It's how I felt. I'm like, is he having this heartfelt moment to try to counteract the way he's been yelling at her, like speaking about her? Could have definitely not been. I'm not going to say that Frank's like a bad person like that. I think outside of this show, Frank's a great person. But it just felt like, and on one hand, like, okay, this is nice, this is thoughtful, but did this have to be on camera?
That's all on camera though. I know what you're saying, but I get, yeah.
I no, that's. I just feel like if he really felt that way and he knew they were going to lose anyways when the final's over, Sam, I still love you, but like this has showcased a lot of like health problems. I don't think discussing it on camera was necessary.
That's fair. Um, as I said, I think a lot of people are going to be very critical. I'm not going to be because
Yeah.
I think Frank and Sam were both actually 100% correct in the way they acted and also wrong at times. Um, Frank was like really, he still wanted to win. He's still hyper competitive. And when he was pushing Sam in that final, it's because there is no tomorrow in this scenario. So it's like this is like I know you're hurting Sam, but it's not like we have a daily challenge that we're competing in tomorrow that you need to be in good shape for. The finish line is right there. Leave it all out on the field because then you can recover for however many months until maybe you're on a challenge season again in the future. But you haven't been on the show in 12 years, so leave it all out on the field right now because I also haven't been on the field in 12 years. Let's give it our all right here, right now.
Yes. And I'm not backtracking to what I said, but I wish Frank would have actually done more with Sam. Like,
Yeah,
I think going to the nice route kind of was admitting defeat. There's a way that if they could have bustled through, they could have won, because some of these things were not all cardio based. But the ones that were, Sam gave up.
I'm forever frustrated by Devin during the Spies, Lies, and Allies final when he was walking up the mountain. When it was the last portion, there was no other checkpoint. It was the last portion of the final, and he's like, "No, I got to take my time. Let me just walk up this mountain." And it's like, dude, there is no portion after this. There's no daily challenge or eliminate. It's you got to run up this mountain, memorize those numbers, and then run down. If you're not giving your all, then like you actually aren't here to win. And that's how I kind of felt with Sam here in this episode. And part of why Frank is pushing Sam is because he's seen Sam do well in this final itself, where they killed that rowboat portion together. That was actually one of the best moments of the final to me, where like they beat Adam and Steve in that photo finish.
Yeah. I thought you said robo, but you said rowboat, and now I'm with you. But yes, I agree. Like, and Frank has also seen Sam get some tough love and still win a season.
Yeah, it's like they're capable of winning. And like after the first two parts of this final where they DQ'd and came in last, they were pretty damn good from then on out. From there, they were probably on the level of Shane and Devon because they came in second, first. You know, they were, and even in that last portion, they came in third. Like they were pretty damn good throughout the final after that really rough opening.
Yeah. If they would have won, it would have been like, oh, interesting. But
I
also,
think, yeah.
they're both champs. And I hate that that's where my line is, because when we cover season 41, I'm going to be all about Ashley. I know my flaws. I would like to see Frank win again. I just don't know if I'd like to see Frank win again with another female champ. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
I like variety, and especially not a female champ who won the same season with. Like, if, let's say on 41, John and Wes are on, and they win together, it's like, great for their legacy, but we've seen this play out before. I don't know.
Yeah, them. I just say though, like compared to I think expectations, I think Frank and Sam did really well in this final. They came in third, they won portions, and it's like I thought they were gonna like before this final. I think the expectation was that they'd have one of the worst performances ever because of Sam. And even though she struggled at certain points, they still won some stuff. And were they close to winning it overall? No, but they still. I don't know. I mean, them doing well in the rowboat portion did affect the final placement. Like maybe Shane and Devon win that if Sam gasses out.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound too like critical of them, because when they were announced to be on the cast, I was pumped because they're people we've not seen in a long time, which I value, and I don't know. So I feel like I'm being a little too critical. I'm so glad they didn't win, but it wouldn't have been a loss had they have won.
Do you ever want to see Sam on another challenge season?
Not even for a second.
I do. I want to see her on another All Stars. I want to see how she competes unattached to Frank, just so we can have a litmus test of like what she can do. Because I want to see her. If she succeeds, it'd be insane. But if she actually like fails, then I think it does affirm our beliefs that she's been carried by Frank.
I would be down to see Sam if she started training.
You know what though, like
And that's just on All Stars.
But they're better athletes than some of the people on the show because like what she does in some of these daily challenges, and she's proven to be very capable in like in things that some of these other players can't figure out.
I agree. No, I'm not even being like, that sounded facetious. I do agree, but cardio clearly is going to keep her from ever being successful ever. So I need her to train.
Yeah, it's the Anissa dilemma that we've talked about for a long time on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm still hoping she wins 41.
If your cardio isn't up to snuff, like it's hard to win the show. Frank is not doing 41, but I assume he has the open invite to whatever challenge season he wants to be on. It's just a question of whether or not he'll get enough money. The problem is he hasn't done a lot of seasons, so with their pay scale, it's tough to get him on unless they make an exception for him.
But that then opens the door for, yeah. I would be down to see him on a flagship show. I don't even need to see him on All Stars. If you decided to, sure. But I do feel like if he were on the 41 cast, that would have added some variety. Well, not variety. I kind of like the cast in a weird way, but he could have taken a couple people's spots for sure.
I think All Stars 5 affirmed to me that Frank is a bona fide tier 1 challenge legend / star. When he's on the show, the amount of attention and like just star power he carries is on the same level of a Wes, a CT, a Jordan. Like they're in that room and your eyes are on them because they can carry an entire show on their back if they want to. And like All Stars 5 was the Frank season.
Yes, and the difference is he does not come back to back to back, but that's part of what also I think makes him a challenge legend is he doesn't have to do that. He can jump into whatever scenario and control it. And I appreciate that about him.
And like obviously Wes and CT have done a billion seasons, but you think about when Wes returned on the Ruins, that was the Wes season. It's kind of like Frank's return here. When CT returned on Rivals 1, that's a very big CT season. And
yeah,
that's a great season overall, but CT was the biggest star amongst all the characters on that show. Frank, he just has this presence to him, like regardless of who's on the show. If it's a weak cast, Frank's really gonna shine, like on this season. But if it's a very strong cast, Frank is still gonna be that guy. And like he doesn't have the full resume of like seasons that these other people have, but he's on that mega star level.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, because I very well could be, but Frank has never been eliminated.
No, not. I mean, the only like time he's been eliminated was that mercenary thing on Vendettas, but that doesn't count. It was a mercenary,
Right.
you know.
Right. Has no stake in it.
Yeah. So when Frank's been in the game, 3 finals, 4-0 in elimination, or 3-0 in elimination, 1-2 eliminations on free agents, and then was taken out because of a pneumonia or a viral infection or whatever he had.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give him this credit because he deserves it.
Yeah, and I'm about to give absolutely no credit to Melissa and Nicole, who came in 4th place. They were the worst team the entire season in the daily challenges. They barely got a star by beating Veronica in elimination. They brought very little entertainment to the show aside from Nicole cheating on her girlfriend and lying online that she didn't cheat on her girlfriend. And then they came in last place in the final.
Thank God. I mean, no. Like, there's just nothing I can say no.
Did you watch the Instagram live last week, or like the clips that came out online of Nicole and Sam?
Yeah, and I thought it was very strange. Like, Nicole just going at Sam.
Yeah, okay, so Nicole, for those who aren't like chronically online, Nicole was going at Sam, and Nicole was pumping up the fact that like they won the first checkpoint of the final, which everyone was shocked by. And
Right.
at some point during the whole Instagram live, um, Nicole said like, "Oh, our performances in the daily challenge doesn't matter. It's about how you perform in the final." Which you watch this all, and it's like very confusing. Of like, Nicole, Sam's won a final before. She beat you in this final, and Nicole has competed in 4 finals, and she's been the last place female in every single one.
Right. I'm thankful that finals have puzzles because it guarantees we'll never get a Nicole Zanata win. I'm so thankful. But also, like, her doing that on the live last week, knowing that Sam beats her in the final, it's like knowing that Sam's a champ. I don't know. I just think it's a lot.
I mean, we talked about right now with Sam, like her cardio not being there. Like Nicole's cardio is elite. She does all these push-ups, but none of it matters if you can't solve a puzzle, and none of it matters. It's just like the ideas of like just being an athlete, where Sam knew how to row a boat and Nicole didn't. And it's just
Right.
the simple like figuring stuff out, where the athleticism stuff of like, oh, how can I balance this weight while I'm carrying it? And Nicole doesn't know how to do shit like that.
Right.
Like she doesn't. It's not just the puzzles element. It's just the little parts of daily challenges, like the carnival game aspect, the coordination, the just the seeing whatever innate thing they have to do and then like solving it. Like Nicole never has any of that problem solving skills in any of these challenges. And she's a bad partner. She yells at people. Nicole's just really bad at this game.
Full stop. She is.
And it's like, she's also like Frank, she's never been eliminated from this show in a traditional fashion. And yet it's just, I'm so unimpressed, because to come in 4th place in multiple finals is embarrassing.
Yeah. And the difference, liking back to what you said, it's never been the Nicole show. Anytime Nicole has gotten screen time, it's not for being a stellar athlete. It's for being kind of dumb or malicious. I mean, I still think about Alicia on Vendettas, just how like nasty she was to her up on that like cross beam, not like a crucifixion cross. Happy Easter, everyone. But
Yeah.
or she's cheating on her girlfriend. It's like, that's your focal point. That's what you're used for. There's probably a reason you get called for All Stars, but not the main show. And it's not that you can't get off work. It could be, but like, I just don't think she's seen as an asset to this franchise.
She's also delusional. I mean, just straight up. Because, I mean, after the invasion final, she was claiming that she thought she won. It's like, no, you didn't. You and Corey took a 30-minute penalty and you DQ'd to start off the final. And then she's like, oh, I would have won the Vendettas final. No, you wouldn't have. It would have required you to solve a puzzle or memorize a pattern at the end.
And I don't think her injury was one that was so bad that she had to go home and get surgery. I think it was one that she probably could have pushed through on Vendettas. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Her ankle was like less hurt than whatever Sam's fake injury was this episode. She sprained her
Okay.
ankle. Who cares? That run.
Push through. It's the last, like you said earlier, it's the last run. Like, figure that out tomorrow.
It was a 1-day final too, anyway, so could have been done. I don't want to see her on another season. Melissa, no interest in her for a while either. Maybe in a few years, but I could use a good long break from her and even Big T too.
It's so interesting to me because Melissa's first season, like when she even left early, I'm like, I want to see her back. She brought it in some allure when she got into a fight with Kayla. It's like, oh, I hate that they're banned. We want to see them back. Total Madness, I guess, was her next season, and it was just like, and ever since,
yeah, I liked her in the second half of Total Madness.
Oh, because she made the final. This is where I was going with this. I think after she had her daughter Vienna, it's been like, for me. And it's not that I think that motherhood has made her weaker or anything like that. It's just I think that her anger is lowered, her temper's lowered. Like any season she's in after, it's almost like she's been just like humor when that was not her role on the show beforehand.
The thing is though, like she's still like, I don't want to act like she's completely boring because she actually, like, if you follow any of her life outside of this, she's really messy. She's really unhinged. I mean, she had a whole boyfriend or like guy taking care of her daughter, and then she had her whole show Magic Island on 39, and then I think there were rumors about a thing between her and Fessy where she was coming overseas to see him and stuff.
Yeah, and she also got in that fight with Berna. I think my image of her is tainted because she was partnered with Nicole and like enjoyed her company. I would like to see her in the future. She's not an old woman like at all. So I
No,
think some time off could be good.
she was friends with Natalie Negrotti when they had that breakup with Cara Maria. Like they just stopped being friends. That whole thing. Like there's
Yep.
stuff around Melissa where it's like, she's definitely a bad decision maker too, which should make her good for reality TV. But whatever it's getting put out on the TV is just not a good final product.
Right.
And I could use a couple years off from her.
Yeah.
Like make me want to see her back on my TV.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, we've said this a million times too, and she's not the same caliber as Cara Maria, but like when Cara Maria left World of Worlds 2, if you had said we're never going to see her again, I'd say there's her swan song. We were excited for her to come back. I mean, the return was sometimes lackluster, but like time makes so many things exciting.
Did you say the return of Cara was lackluster?
I said lackluster at times just because like
Are you talking
I think she went out sad on 40 just because like so much of the attention was on the fight with Laurel. And I'm not blaming her for that, but like that became Cara's whole thing. It wasn't Cara the competitor, it was Cara the person fighting with Laurel.
Okay. So okay, because I was gonna say Cara's return for All Stars 4,
Oh,
historically
great.
like great return. 40, I agree with you. 40 was lackluster, but 4, in my brain, it's like 4 was the turn and 40 was the sequel, whatever.
Yeah. Sorry, my door is whistling because it's the wind's blowing, but that's just nature cheering for Cara. You're right. All Stars 4, she was great. And I think if she had won, it'd be like the best comeback of all time. But I'm already at the point where I'm like, I need a break from Cara.
I feel that as well. Do you think Frank's return was better than Cara's?
No, I actually don't. Well, I don't want to say that. I think they're different. I think depending on what you prioritize, because Cara definitely wasn't running a house, but like she was doing really well. She was separating her emotions, which she'd never done before. She was standing up for herself. She was attempting to be a good friend to Laurel. All things that showed growth. She was smiling. Whereas Frank's return was like, oh, I'm reminded of who you are and why when you left on free agents, it felt like a huge loss to me. So I don't know how I'd equate them. Both great though.
I may or may not have started a top 10 challenge returns blog. And I may have stopped it because I was like, I try to balance, whenever I try to do a list like that, I try to balance it out like 5 men, 5 women, maybe it'll be 6 and 4. I had 8 men and 2 women, and I was like, people are gonna be mad at this list.
Well, I know the best. Well, I know the best female return of all time. Are you going to say John A? Not to spoil your article, or no?
Oh, no. So, okay, here's the thing. I don't know where to qualify that one because it's like the return season on All Stars 1, she really didn't do much and then just won the final. But then the next couple seasons after were like bigger returns.
I know who is number one for you. Ashley Mitchell. From
No,
Invasion.
like number one, it's Coral for All Star 6. That's just, we're hoping. What's the word that people use?
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, no, it's like the word that like spiritual people see. I'm
Manifesting.
I'm manifesting that. Yeah, I'm manifesting Coral for All Star 6. Though I did see recently the post that they're not filming All Star 6 anytime soon, that 42 is going to be more around the corner.
Yeah. And if you've seen any of my recent tweets, don't manifest when it comes to the challenge. It does not come true. But spoilers there. But
Well,
yeah.
All Stars 5 is in the books. It's kind of crazy because like I remember when All Stars 1 came out and it was just like this whole big thing, and we're already more than 5 years away from that, and life is passing us by.
Crazy.
Um, Make sure to subscribe to us on. Actually, what? Anything else you want to say before we end this podcast?
41's coming up.
41's coming up. I'm excited to get the main show back in our lives a little bit because All Stars is fun, but it does always feel like a side thing.
It does. You're so right. It feels like a side thing.
So make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get the podcast. Maybe I'll try to reach out to some cast members to get some interviews on this channel. Adam, I know you're listening, so Adam Larson, if you want to come on the podcast and talk about your great championship win, maybe that'll happen. Maybe I'll reach out to some other finalists like Frank and Sam.
And
Figure
Nicole?
out. No, I'm blocked. I can't even reach out and block. So not that I want to. That would actually be like one of those things where if we did like a GoFundMe, but it's like a punishment, and I have to listen to her talk for an hour. All right, everyone, make sure to subscribe. Thank you for following for another great season. Good night.